So we're doing make your own pizza tonight. We've lots of toppings, mozzarella cheese, a couple of dressings, more cheese, some sliced ham, some little hot sausages, hummus, peppers, some roasted pork. Yum. This morning I am going to be making a delicious breakfast using the yellow sticker road. So I have these 2 portobello mushrooms. They were on sale for $1.80. I have some peppers, spinach out of the freezer, a tomato, and some yellow sticker garlic, and some eggs. So follow along. So first up, I have cleaned the mushrooms and took the stem out and popped them into individual containers. I'm going to put them into a 365-degree oven, but first I'm going to put olive oil, salt and pepper inside and cook them for 15 minutes. So I have the frying pan on and it's starting to heat up. I just put in a little drizzle of olive oil, and as you can see I have the ingredients here. So I have yellow pepper, red pepper, some frozen spinach, the stems of the mushroom, and some onion, and then I have a frozen garlic clove that I took out of the freezer. So I will be pressing the onion and the garlic clove into the pan when it heats up with some salt and pepper, and then I'll be adding the other ingredients. The mushrooms are in the oven cooking away, and then I'll pile them all and add the egg. The onion is just popped in. I'm about to do the garlic. Now that the onion, garlic, peppers, and the stems of the mushrooms have rendered down and they're getting lovely and soft, I'm going to add the spinach right on top and cook all that down. And kitchen smells amazing. The halfway point with the mushrooms in the oven, so I just like to turn them over, okay, and pop them back in for about another 5 minutes, and then I will add the delicious topping that I made and put the eggs on top to cook further in the oven. So the mushrooms are done, and I make a little well right here as I put the topping around in both, just where the stem would have come out of. It's just to hold the egg in place while it cooks in the oven. And there you have it, fresh out of the oven, delicious, healthy breakfast for pennies. Yay, perfection. Yum. I'm gonna dig in. So for dinner tonight, we're going to have sweet potatoes. I have just topped and tailed the potatoes, given them a quick wash. I have pricked them with the steak knife and I have taken off any little straggly hairs. I'm going to pop them into the crock pot for a couple of hours. I don't add any liquid when I'm cooking the potatoes in the crock pot. I let the steam from the heat cook the potatoes through, and they get lovely and soft without getting dried out. Lid's going on. Wow, look at those beauties. I also found some cranberries and pine nuts in the press that we bought at Trader Joe's about, I want to say 2 to 3 months ago. So there'll be enough to go on top with some Greek yogurt. I'm looking forward to dinner. So I am just about to put our sweet potatoes in some bowls and add the toppings to them. I have some Greek yogurt, some pine nuts, and some cranberries on top, and I'm going to actually add some cinnamon and hopefully some New York cheese. I'm not sure. I'll have to check on if we have any New York. So I have the potatoes in the bowls, and I just halve them and then slice them down. So there you have it. I ended up not having any cheese, but that's going to be okay. I'm going to pop these back into the oven just for a little bit to toast the pine nuts, and I sprinkle some scallions or spring onions on top. So it's Sunday, and I'm going to make a big breakfast for my family. We have maple sausages, yellow sticker Chipotle bacon, some peppers, red and orange, 4 potatoes, yellow sticker mushrooms, a tray of eggs, and some spring onions or green onions. I'm going to be using garlic, salt, pepper, maybe some turmeric, and let's get started. So in this pot or container, I have put in some garlic salt, black pepper, and some olive oil. And I'm just about to chop the potatoes and put them in. Next up, I have the Chipotle bacon, and I'm going to cut it in sections so it'll be easier to cook and consume. I hope you're doing well. Sorry for this blackout on my video, but I didn't realize I had put the screen down, face down, and unfortunately I am not able to edit this part of the video out, so please bear with me as we get to the next section of cooking the rest of this delicious breakfast for my family. Yeah, it came out really, really good. We're nearly there. 5, 4, here we go. So now I have the sausages and the Chipotle bacon to go straight into the oven. It's at 400 degrees. The potatoes are already in there. And here comes the bacon. Next up, I'm going to make an omelette. I'm going to use spring onions, the peppers, and the mushrooms. I'm just going to chop all these up to bite sizes and put them into my quiche dish with 8 eggs, salt and pepper, and garlic. Pop it into the oven as well. Now I have used up some of the peppers, but just a quick tip, I like to cut my peppers with a scissors. It makes it so much easier. Now I'm going to chop up the onions. Now I'm going to chop up the mushrooms, and I have some corn in the freezer, and I'm going to pop that. So at this stage, I just give everything a quick toss, and I season everything. We have in here mushrooms, spring onions, red and orange peppers, and some corn. And it's important to season now because you want it to take on the flavors. When I have seasoned this, I'm going to pop it into the oven while I am getting the eggs ready. In the bowl, I have 8 eggs, salt and pepper. And I'm going to add some milk, and then I'm just going to whisk it all up. So I've just taken the veg out of the oven. I popped it in there so it can just heat up. And now I'm just going to pour over the whisked eggs. Make sure you cover every little bit. So that was 8 eggs, milk, salt and pepper. And then I'm just going to pop that into the oven. If you had some cheese on hand, you could pop some cheese on here at this stage. Currently I have no shredded cheese. We've used it all up. Look at the bacon going. I've got to give the potatoes a quick toss. And yeah, they're doing lovely as well. Check on the sausages. So I'm going to turn the bacon now. So I ended up taking out the potatoes out of the oven for a quick minute, and there was a good bit of oil on the Chipotle bacon, so I poured a little bit of it on here, not a lot. I already had olive oil on here, and I was going to do 4 potatoes. I ended up only doing 3 because there was a lot, and I put them in a larger casserole dish, so they're going to go back in. I'm also going to put them in on the lower shelf so they can crisp up. I'm going to put the bacon on the top there. Okay. So while the oven is on and I have a few scragglers, I have half an onion in the fridge of some mushrooms left, some of the pepper, and I already had this dish oiled and seasoned for the potatoes, but it was too small. So I'm going to actually cook all of this while the oven is on, and I'll let it cool, and I'll toss it into a Ziploc bag, and I'll put it in the freezer. And the night that we have steak, I'll undo this and put it over the steak in the oven, and it'll be delicious. So I just took out the bacon. It's all done, and I have it in this glass container with the lid on top, sitting on top of the stove so that it can stay hot while everything else is cooking. And then these are the extra vegetables I had in the fridge. I always practice 0 food waste. I think it's vitally important. You know, as a one-income family, you really need to use up everything we have and save our financial resources for other things. But since the oven is on, I wanted to put them in there. But when I was putting all of these vegetables into the dish that I had already seasoned, I needed a little more olive oil, and I didn't have it. We're all out. It's grocery shopping day around here also. So I put it on the tray where the bacon was cooked, and I just tossed it around. I think it will be fine. It actually is probably going to be amazing. So let's pop that into the oven now. Ooh, sorry about that. The oven's really hot because everything is getting cooked. I'm going to toss the sausages now, and now I have moved on to making pancakes. I have the pancake mix mixed. I just put a little butter on here. Just remember I said we were all out of oil. This is my griddle pan. I put some cinnamon in the pancake mix. I'm just going to make little pancakes today because we have a lot of food, but there's going to be leftovers. So by doing the pancakes now, okay, this will let the breakfast that I made cook today stretch for tomorrow's breakfast as well. So these will be delicious. First flip, and I made an apple. How cute. My son is going to love that. Anyway, make sure that you're practicing 0 food waste, using all of your ingredients in your fridge. If you are not, pop them into the freezer for a later consumption date, and eat healthy foods if you can, and if you can afford them. We shop at Lidl because we get best bang for our buck. We get their organic food is in our budget, and yeah, basically that's it. I've got to take these off and start. Here's breakfast straight out of the oven. Sausages, they're all cooked. They mightn't look like it, but they're all cooked. They just need to be tossed. Here is the quiche I made. I've made pancakes, the Chipotle bacon, the little potatoes, and then there's the extra that's going to go on the steak. Practicing 0 food waste.
Potatoes.
Yum. Yeah, little roasty potatoes. So the peppers, onions, and mushrooms are all cooked, and I'm about to pop them in a container and put them into the freezer for when we have steaks. Excuse the banging in the background. We are painting and decorating. So today's lunch is a yellow sticker lunch. As you can see, the bread was 70 cents. This was 39 cents. We have some cheese left over, and this container was 88 cents. We'll only use a quarter of that, and the rest will go into the freezer. The meatballs were on sale for $1.50, and we have cheese left over. So I'm going to show you how I can make lunch today. The bread's frozen. Just take it to the sink, run it under the tap, both sides, okay? Get it moist and wet. Don't worry, my dishes are in there from this morning, okay? Pop it onto a tray, and we'll pop it into the oven, and it'll make it the bread will come back up as if it was just baked a few moments ago. Okay, on the pan I have some olive oil, pepper, some garlic salt, and some oregano. See it there? And then I'm just going to open the turkey meatballs that were $1.50 on the yellow stickers and pop them in here. So the meatballs are cooking away, and what I like to do, since I'm going to be making a meatball sub, is I take the meatballs off and cut them in half. And the reason I do this is because I'm making the sub, it's easier to eat, but also it spreads the quantity. Instead of having 12 meatballs, we now have 24. Now they're back in the pan and just sizzling away. Let them get all toasty and crispy, and I'll check on the bread next in the oven. Now the bread is out of the oven. It's absolutely gorgeous, fluffy. So I'm going to slice it in two and put on some garlic butter, and then start assembling after I put the sauce on the meatballs, I'll start assembling the bread roll. I won't be using all these meatballs on here, nor will I be using all of this bread, but later on when our son needs lunch, he will have the same thing. So it works out really good. Now I've added the sauce to the meatballs, and I just want to show you over here, this is how much. So I've down to here in the jar. I will clean off the top of the jar and put this into the freezer for the next time that we need to use a jar of spaghetti sauce. It freezes perfectly. Next up, I'm going to slice up the avocado. Lovely and fresh. So I have some Parmesan cheese down here and some provolone. I'm just about to put the meatballs on next and pop it back into the oven. And there you have it. I'm going to pop it back into the oven. And so I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the meatballs on this sandwich, but looks like I did a whole load more because I sliced them in half, right? So this is going to be portion size for 3 people. So nice little lunch. So there you have it. It's fresh out of the oven. I'm going to just add some scallions on top, or can't remember what you call them, but we call them scallions. Yeah, I'm going to have that on top. Fold this baby over. Ooh, it's hot. And there you have it, a healthy lunch. Some avocados, some grapes out of the freezer, and your lunch. Meatball sub. Enjoy.